Stormblood, in my opinion, was the best expansion. It had the best raids. It had the best 24-man. It had Eureka. It had the Palace of the Dead stuff. The only thing in the expansion that I didn't like was the, well, not accounting the story, because I don't give a shit about the story. I mean, I don't like I don't base an expansion off of the story. But
you shouldn't, by the way. You should not judge an expansion by its story. Because think about how much time you spend doing the story quests of the expansion. The tiny fraction of time you're spending doing that compared to all the time you're spending playing the expansion. When I say Endwalker is the worst expansion I've played, I'm obviously not talking about 6.0 story, which was good. I loved it. I cried. I laughed. Loved that. Love Loppers. I love all that shit. But we're talking about how it feels to play for 2 years under the umbrella of that expansion and all the content that it gave or did not give. So I think that looking back at Stormblood, we see that perhaps we judged it too harshly, because let me tell you, there have been years in this community where I have heard people just shit on Stormblood because they didn't like the story that much, or it wasn't like... But honestly, even looking back at Stormblood's story, the patch story dragged a little in the beginning, but the later Stormblood patches were great. Like, the last patches of Stormblood leading up into Shadowbringers were fucking good. So, it's not even like we had in the, like, worst story expansion that people love to say. It's not even like all the patches were filler. I mean, some of them were really good and interesting and exciting. It made you think, oh man, I wonder what that is about. What is that strange mystery? I can't wait to find out what it is. So, yes, that was great. All right, anyway.
The only thing I didn't like were the trials, were the primals. Nah, I don't base the expansion off of the story.
I don't want to go in a whole thing about the story of Stormblood. I'm trying to stop myself.
You can only do the story once. This game is meant to be played over and over and over and over and over again. All of this stuff in the game, man, is supposed to be repeatable. Because if it's not repeatable, you do it once and there's no reason to do it again. Like, once you clear the raid tier, there's no reason to do it again. Unless you do Criterion or an Ultimate. But who the fuck gives a shit about Criterion? You know what I mean? Like, so basically what I'm trying to say here is that a lot of the reason I still play Final Fantasy is because of you guys. So I play with you guys and I play with friends. This game just doesn't have, it just doesn't have enough to keep you sub to it. For me. Because like all of this really simple, easy shit that they put in, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think this dungeon looks really cool, but this is such a waste of potential, because this dungeon could probably be badass, but instead they're going to make it brain dead easy to cater to casuals. And that's fine. That's fine. But they don't give, like, basically they give a vast majority of their content is so that anybody can do it. And while that's good, and I'm not saying that they should take it away, they just need to add more on.
Oh my God, I just thought of a really good idea. How to fix it. Okay, I just thought of a really good idea how to fix it. Hear me out, right? Okay, so it's trust, but instead of having scions helping you in the dungeon, you recruit like the fucking worst NPCs in the game, who are like all like, maybe you recruit like a bunch of pirates from Limsa, and they are drunk off their ass, and they are running through the entire dungeon, and they're pulling everything, and they're putting debuffs on you, and they're like pouring alcohol all over the ground, and you're slipping in it, and they're causing all kinds of fucking problems for you the entire way. And so you can like, or someone who actively is trying to make it harder for you and worse for you, like Hildebrand. Yeah, he's like there are affixes that you can unlock, maybe through story, and then they can make it worse and harder for you. They can direct more damage onto you. They can shirk you and shit like that. Isn't that a really good idea? That would be cool. You're just describing my roulette dungeons. Oh. Yeah, or you could just do a normal roulette. Yeah. Or that. Yeah, that would, or just have me in your party. That would have the same effect of the Zepla affix.
Stuff that, this is going to sound mean, but not everybody can do. Yeah, they need to add some stuff that is a little harder, that not everybody can do it. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody. I'm not saying they need to, I'm not saying they need to make every fight like an ultimate. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
I am saying that. We need ultimate dungeon. We need ultimate level of dungeon. It's honestly, we can't keep calling the dungeons expert dungeons. We can't keep calling this expert roulette. This is crazy. Can't. We need actually difficult way to do the dungeon.
That we've had 4 turns of a rate tier for like 10 fucking years. Like 10 years, man. And then on the last fight, they split the fight into 2. So now there's...
I can't believe Zeem said that. The only reason he's still playing is because of you guys. Well, his guys, but I'm sure there's a lot of buns here, over there too. Man. It kind of makes me really sad because Zeems is such a great content creator. And I think about all the content creators we don't have or that we've lost because they feel like there's just nothing that they can focus on to like the replayable content that keeps people coming back, that keeps people engaged over the lifetime of expansion. Like it's kind of heartbreaking to me.
2 fights. So it's like there's kind of like 4.5,
Like,
but you don't even get loot for one of them. And the loot system already sucks in this game. So it's like you have to do a fight that is arguably harder than the quote-unquote hardest fight, and you don't get any loot for it. I'm just saying that this game is amazing, and it's 10 out of 10 for like newer players and people that have played the game for like a year or 2 years. But after like, I don't know, the second year, I don't know, you guys tell me. You got to remember, my perspective on this game is a lot different, okay? Are there any people in the chat that have played for like 2 or 3 years and you already know the patterns, you're already running out of stuff to do? Now, if you're not one of those players, if you still find stuff to do, then that's awesome, man. Like that is awesome. But eventually, you're going to be in this spot, man, where you've done everything in the game and you realize they really don't add much content to this game. Like, I know that sounds crazy, right? Because look, you got this dungeon here, you got this 24-man, you got the new...
So, reading your responses in the chat to this question. You said, I'm finding that. I'm in my 2nd year and it's wearing thin. I started playing in 2021 and ran out of stuff to do. I've played since Heaven's Ward, but never dipped my toes into extreme or savage content. I think dungeons must be doable by everyone. People who can play 8 hours a day will burn through FF14, even with the crazy having to catch up stuff. Let me think. I have been playing since Heaven's Ward, since 2015, which, oh my god, it's 8 years. I just looked at the year, it's 2023. In 2 years, that will have been 10 fucking years. Oh no. Oh no. But I just started playing, basically, is what I thought. And you know, the thing is that the game has always been a game that has encouraged you to find your own goals, that has let you set your own path and chart your own course. And so for me, looking ahead and thinking about, well, what kind of creative things can I do? Like Baja, I had been playing for well over that time, and I kept myself pretty busy with Baja for a while. The solo deep dungeon, yeah, I'm going to keep myself busy doing that too. That's going to be really fun. It's just solo deep dungeon, okay. This is an incredibly hardcore challenge. It's almost like at a certain point, the game is asking you, like, if you want to keep having the content to do and you want to keep being engaged, then you need to make that jump in difficulty. But Zeems has done that. Like, Zeems has done all the ultimates. He's a serious writer. But has he done Pals of the Dead? But what if he didn't want to do Pals of the Dead, right? Like, I don't know if he's done it, but what if he didn't want to do it? there needs to be more, basically. There needs to be more stuff. At some point, there comes a point in MMO where you don't have that much to do besides raiding, because you've done most of the side content, nothing new. I don't know, because basically the new expansions are supposed to counteract that. The new expansions, in releasing a lot of fresh content, are supposed to counteract the fact that you've been playing for a while and you've done a lot of side content already. But another issue with Endwalker is that they didn't make a great reward for getting all the jobs to max level. And this seems like not that big of a deal, but I think it's actually a pretty big deal, because with Shadowbringers, you got this amazing Amuro mount from getting all jobs to level 80, and it was something everybody wanted. So I spent a ton of time leveling in Shadowbringers, and I know a ton of people that spent so much time leveling every single job in Shadowbringers. And you know what? That's a gateway to all different kinds of new content, because in the process of that, you might discover a job that you really enjoy more than you thought you would. And then that can make the game fresh for you. This is one of FFXIV's greatest strengths, is that you can play the game on all these different jobs. And that was a way to encourage people to explore those other avenues. But without that, in Endwalker, it has really been even more dry than usual. So that, combined with the kind of content that we're getting that hasn't been that evergreen, it has just been especially painful for people that were really counting on that new stuff, really counting on it. I think Zines falls into this category. People that were really, really counting on new expansion content to liven things up and keep them engaged day after day. For them, like, this has been really devastating.
New story, you got this new trial, and you got the Unreal. And I know that sounds crazy that they don't add very much. Okay, well, this has already been in the game before. Now it's fine, because this content is supposed to be for people that haven't experienced it. So, like, I'm sure there's a lot of you in chat that have never done this when it was current, right? Because you just weren't playing in Heaven's Ward. You know what I mean? This fight in Heaven's Ward, this was one of the best trials they've ever made. This one right here. So you guys are going to be able to experience one of the best trials ever made in this game.
Yes.
Like, this is so fucking cool.
It's so hype.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
like,
so
this is
hype.
awesome. But here's the problem. There's no reason to do this after the first time. I mean, because the Fox rewards suck. Most of them suck. And
that's true. Fuck. They keep doing it. God, it's so annoying. It's so fucking annoying. This keeps happening. I'm like, wow, this content is so good. I can't wait for everyone to be doing it. But what? But wait, but what's that? They're going to do it once. And then they're not going to do it anymore. Why? Why? Why you got to make it like that every time? The fun reward, yeah, I made it. I think I remember making a video about it as soon as the rewards came out, and it was even back then, way back then, for the Unreal rewards come out. I was like, it's kind of weird how they keep making the rewards where it's like one and done. It seems like they're not really wanting people to go back and do it over and over. But then,
you can sell them anyway.
But then you have something like the Hunt Mount reward, right? Like that dog, where you have to do so many fucking hunts to get that dog. Like the pug mount from hunts is an insanely difficult achievement, where you have to like make the game your life. You have to make the game your job and do every hunt on every instance all day, every day. You need to set alerts on your phone. Like, you're going to kill yourself trying to get this dog. That's the replayable content. Like, that's how they see replayable content. Why does it have to be one or the other? Why does it have to be either you do it one time and you never go back, or you literally need to do this 10 million times and then you can get it with no middle ground? Where's the middle ground? Fuck. This is crazy.
So you can actually get this shit and not even fucking do it. And then there's this. There's no reason to do this at all, actually, unless you just want to experience it, because you already know it's going to drop a weapon that's going to be fucking useless. This dungeon, like I said, I think this dungeon looks cool.
But
like, just based on this picture, I think it looks.
But what if the weapon is a good glam, Zeems? But it seems you're missing something very important about why to keep playing the game and keep running the content over and over. There's a piece of the puzzle, Zeems, that you're missing. And that piece is glam. That piece, I think it's time for Zeems to install Reshade, get himself a little account on the FFXIV collection website, and he needs to go out and start making screenshots of his character in epic locations and his best outfits. Okay, this is gonna solve the problem.
Go in here on my warrior alone, I can just do the entire dungeon. What does it matter? You know, you could do this with 40 PS, man. You know, what does it matter? You know, and this, they put so much work into this awesome.
It's amazing.
You know, like I mean, look at this, dude. This looks amazing.
Looks so cool.
At least I think so. But you do this one time. Like, that's it. Like, that's the problem that this game's had. You do it like one time and then you don't have to give a shit. That's it. You don't even have to do it the one time. That's the problem. Look, guys, you know, I understand people do this. People do this stuff for glamour and, you know, this for glamour.
Right?
Okay,
the glam,
okay.
yeah.
So you do it a couple times. You're coming out with this major patch because
Fuck, he's right. Even if you're doing it for glam, like I said, it still doesn't take that long to get all of the glam pieces. So even that, too, is short-lived. Fuck, he's right, though. But you know what else you can do? You can do the Alliance raid, and then you can write fan fiction about Thaliak. Eh? I mean, that's an option. Just saying.
this is a major patch. And this major patch, you can do everything in it in 2 days.
Oh
One
my
day.
God. Fan fiction about Thaliak and Nofika. I mean, that's one way to keep yourself busy.
Not even a day. Like for me, I'm going to do all of this shit in like fucking 5 hours or whatever. The longest it's going to take is going to be however long it takes to kill the primal, which is going to be what, 2 lockouts max? We'll say 3 lockouts for the primal. And then this is a one, well, okay. If I go in with you guys, this is going to take longer than the primal probably. But see, that's my point though. A lot of this content, man, and it kind of makes me feel bad for the developers a little bit because they put so much work into this stuff.
Yes.
And it's not, basically, I don't think that it lasts as long as it should. I have a lot of...
Let me just say, too, I said this before, but I feel like I need to say it every day because I feel bad. In my video where I said Endwalker is the worst expansion I've played, which I stand by, I said that the devs were lazy. And I really don't mean that. I don't think the devs are lazy. What I meant was the content feels lazy. But that doesn't mean that I think the devs are lazy. Like, they're just slacking off and they're not doing their job. Like, obviously, they're working their butts off over there. But I was really exasperated at the time. And so I was like, oh, well, I don't know what's going on. They're just lazy. And I was just mad. Okay, but I don't really think they're lazy. I think that Square Enix doesn't give them the resources that they need to produce all the content that they could in an expansion. So if anyone's lazy, it's the people in charge of who's allocating resources to different games at Square Enix, because I guess they think they can just coast on FFXIV without pouring a lot more into it that it needs. But I don't think that the devs themselves are just not trying hard enough at all. I really don't think that.
Respect for this game and the developers, man. Like, this is my favorite game, like, of all time. It's just because I've played it for so long, and I've said this for years and years and years, but this game is the game that always could have been better than what it is. It could be better. Over the years, they've added stuff. They added Boja. They added large-scale content. They added Criterion. They added the Unreal. You know, they've added stuff, but the issue is it just takes so fucking long, man. It takes so long. Just want to make normal and savage version of every piece of content, including dungeons and alliance raids, and actually have rewards unlike Criterion. The reward system in Final Fantasy XIV has always been absolute fucking abysmal. Like back in the day, the loot system used to have a couple better things that they actually took away. So like back in the day, trials would drop accessories in addition to weapons. Well, some would drop weapons, some would drop accessories. The accessories were BIS a couple times. Why can't this primal...
Oh, I think I wasn't that serious about raiding at the time, so I wouldn't remember that. I didn't actually know that. The trial bosses used to sometimes drop BIS accessories. Huh. Yeah, that would definitely be better. But
drop an accessory that is equivalent to this item level. I don't understand. Why can't this new piece of content that is supposed to be catch-up content, why can't it drop a raid ring? That's the whole point. Like, it just perplexes me that you have the raid and it's like a set item level, and then every piece of content that comes out after the raid that is supposed to help you with the raid is lower item level. I don't understand it. By the time that the new content comes out that's supposed to help you with the raid tier is already deader than dead. Basically, you would have more people do this trial if it dropped a BIS. You would have more people do this 24-man if it dropped BIS accessories. This would also be amazing for alts. So even if you had... Jeez.
Huh. So the items that the new trial is going to drop won't really help you that much in the current Savage tier. So he feels like there's going to be less people interested in doing it at all that are caring about raiding, because it's just not really offering any upgrades that are relevant. So who are they targeting with the new trial? With the new extreme trial? People that will farm them out 99 times? People that will get the Glamour weapon? People that want to clear it once to see what it's like on extreme? But again, we have this thing where it feels like maybe they don't want people to feel like they gotta do it. They're terrified of putting stuff in the game that makes people feel like it's really important right now to do or would matter. But even that, it wouldn't even be that more important to do, because it's like we don't have a new ultimate coming around. Like, all this hard content is out. That's it. We'll have the new Criterion dungeon. So that would have made sense, maybe even to help you with the new Criterion. I don't know what they're thinking with these rewards. I can't try to wrap my head around it, because every time I do, it doesn't make any sense. It just feels like they are really set on this structure, and maybe they haven't even revisited it in a while. But it is really frustrating. Also, yeah, relic weapons, upgrade those trial weapons right away. So what's the point? Oh yeah, and then now we have the relic weapons too. So that's kind of concerning, actually. Like, how many people will be sticking around to run this extreme trial a lot? Because usually the extreme trial, one of the big motivators for me to do an extreme trial, for example, is if there's a Savage content coming right around the corner, and the extreme trial can offer a really good weapon that I can get from doing the extreme trial. And that feels great, to get the upgrade that will help you in the next thing you want to do. It's like the ladder towards the next thing. But it's bad design, to be honest.
Jesus, man. I've already said all this, man. I've been saying this for years, man.
Yeah, I think he has. He really has.
Anyway, I don't want to loop too much.
So
I'm just going to tell you things that I hope that is in this patch that's not going to be. I hope that this gear is equivalent to raid gear, because it'll help you for two ways. Well, it'll help you for more. I'm just going to list some. It's going to help you for alts. Here's the second thing. It's going to help combat the garbage, awful tome cap. Another thing is it's going to help new players get access to the raid. Think about this. You have a greater chance of getting more raid pieces than you do like this piece, right? Because you can only get one of these pieces per week. But in the raid, let's say you clear the first turn and you get lucky. You can get 2 to 3 pieces, 4, whatever. So the fact that you can only get one of these per week, this should be raid equivalent. It'll also help you with Criterion if you're going to do that. So there's multiple ways. There's literally no downside to this gear not being raid equivalent. Not 5 item levels lower, not 2 item levels lower, literally raid equivalent. This should give you raid equivalent gear, because at this point in the patch cycle, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This should be raining raid gear, okay? For those of you that have raided, it's already hard enough to get gear. Even if you're in a fucking static, it's hard enough to get gear, because the gearing in this game is so slow. So that's what they should do with this. With this, the last time we asked for Savage Dungeons, they gave us Criterion. So I'm hesitant to say, just make Expert harder. Okay, that's it. Just literally make expert just a little harder, okay? Or, you know what? Keep it the same. Just make a harder version that you can upgrade to. You know what they should do, actually? They should give you 2 versions. The normal expert and the savage expert. And the savage expert should give you like 4 times the amount of tomes. I'd fucking do that just for the tomes. All right, anyway, this. Primal should stop dropping weapons. Just stop it. Stop dropping weapons. Or, if you're going to drop a weapon...
But what about the tome cap, though? What about the tome cap? Gearing for alt jobs is a pain in the ass. That would be a way. That would be a way to alleviate that a little bit, is to just have a buttload of tomes dropping from some savage version. But I hope that they would be, if they were ever going to make a savage version of the dungeons, which honestly feels unlikely. If they were going to do that, I just hope they would be a little bit more creative with rewards than just a shitload of tomes. I wish they could find something new to let us upgrade. I don't know what. Maybe take some notes from Guild Wars 2 horizontal progression. Like, I wouldn't mind having some kind of mastery system that lets you just play a little bit differently. Even if it's just in the open world or something. Like, just something to help you maybe, like, fly faster, or I don't know what. Sprint for longer or something.
But drop a BIS accessory. You know, drop a ring, a necklace, drop the whole fucking loot table. Just BIS accessories, man. They don't have to be BIS, but drop a raid equivalent accessory. That's all I'm saying. Just drop it. They used to do it in the past. It was amazing. They should do it again. All of the benefits of doing this are the same as the benefits I mentioned above. And there's no downside to you doing this. I'm just getting it all out of my system, okay? This, I feel like you should be able to farm fox leaves. Why not? Or if for some reason people have an issue with that, I don't know, give this another reason to do more than once a week. Give Unreal a reason. It doesn't have to be an important reason. Maybe like every time you clear an Unreal, you get like 10 leaves or something. And all this is fine. This is fine. Free trial, starter edition expansion. All this is fine. Okay, there. I got it all.
Okay, what about an achievement for clearing Unreal like 10 or 20 times? Maybe something like that to make people want to go back and keep doing it. Achievements could be a good thing for them to incentivize more overall, because this would allow them to incentivize lots of different kinds of content. Because not everybody wants to do Ultimate, not everybody wants to do Extreme, not everybody wants to do all this. But if they could like really add a ton of stuff into the achievement spender for like just accumulating different achievement points and maybe different titles, more titles for different achievements that you can get, I think that would be awesome. Because, yeah, like right now, we don't really think about achievements as much as I do in really any other game. People don't really care about achievements that much in here, but I wish that they would.
Out of my system. I talked about it. As you can tell, I've talked about it before. See, you guys are dumb. You guys want these changes, but when I talk about these changes, all you guys do is just spam the stupidest shit in the chat. You know why I think that you spam stupid shit in the chat? It's because you like to impress each other. You like to make each other laugh. Okay? You like to see which one of you can spam the dumber thing. And I know some of you spam this shit because people on YouTube see it. You know, I've had people ask about the chat lore before. I've had people like hesitantly ask, what?
Honestly, yes. The chat is just so embarrassing, Zeems. And I wish that they would just sit there and listen whenever you're trying to make good points about the game and jot down their little notes about everything that you're trying to say. But they just do not seem to want to listen sometimes. They're very unruly over here too. And I have tried very hard to whip them into shape and to put some discipline in here in the chat also. But they don't like it. It's very hard to get them to sit still and listen to important things like the state of the video game. And look at right now, I have people all doing bunarchy. Jesus Christ. We can't even get into this conversation trying to get them to act correctly. Because...
Wins bins.
Don't put ye old cougar in the... Hey! I'm not a cougar!